Hey, what's up everyone? In this video, we're going to talk about string methods. String methods are Python built-in functions that allows you to do various things, like reversing a string, or converting a text from normal case to lowercase, or finding the number of letters inside a string. So let's say we have a string s, and s is Python is awesome. Now, to find the number of letters inside the string, we're going to use a method called length. And this returns the number of letters inside the string s. And we're going to store it inside a variable n and print out n. And as you can see, the command prompt says that there are 18 letters inside the string. Python is awesome looks like a title on a textbook. So if you want to convert this to a title, you can use the Python built-in function title. So s is equal to s.title and then print s. So let's see what it does. And as you can see, it basically just converts each letter of the word into its capital form. So Python is awesome. And now you can put this on a newspaper or the title of your book. And similar to title, we also have something called capitalize. Now, capitalize, the only difference here is it only takes the first letter of the entire sentence and capitalize it. And it keeps everything else in lowercase. So we run it. And looks like I misspelled capitalize. And there you go. Let's do it again. And now, as you can see, it capitalizes the first letter of Python and keeps everything else in lowercase. You should also know the lower and uppercase methods. So s is equal to s.upper, and this will make everything capitalized. How about lower? Well, let's make this first word capitalize. And when you run it, you can see that it makes the entire string into its lowercase. So you might be wondering, why do we have to do s is equal to s.lower? And why can't we just do s.lower by itself? Well, the reason is, it takes this, right? It converts into lowercase, and then it puts it back into our original variable s. If you just do s.lower by itself, like this, then it does not put the updated form back into the variable, and therefore when you print it out, so let's print it out, it will not be in its lowercase. You can also check to see if every letter inside the string is in lowercase. So let's make this lowercase, and the function is called isLower, and we're going to put it inside s. And here it says that all the characters are in lowercase, but there is one problem. You see, s is a string, right? But now, once we print out s, it's no longer a string, but it is a boolean. So in order to fix this, simply change the variable to something else, let's say a boolean or status, and then we print out s as well as the status. Now, you can see that s is Python is awesome, it stays the same, and we also know that the status is that all of the characters are in lowercase. The opposite of is lower is upper. And as you can see, it prints out false because not all the characters are in uppercase. Three important methods that you need to know are isOwnum, isAlpha, and isNumeric. So let's see what each one does. IsOwnum is a method that returns true when all of the characters in our string are either alphabet, such as A, B, C, or it is a number. Now, it will return false if there is a space. So let's see, we have Python 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we run isOwnum, and our result is true because our string contains either letters or numbers. What happens if we add a space? When we add a space, it will return false. In our definition, a space is not an alphabet or a number. IsAlpha returns true if we only have alphabets, and it doesn't matter if it's uppercase or lowercase. So in this string, it will definitely return false because number one, it has numbers, and number two, a space is not an alphabet. So let's remove those, and let's say the first letter is capitalized. Now when we run it, we will get a true because all of our letters are indeed alphabets. And the last one is numeric. So isNumeric returns true when all of the characters are numbers. Now note that the period and the minus sign doesn't count. So let's say we have 245, This will return true because all of the characters are numbers. But what if we add a minus sign, like negative 245? This should output a false, and if you have a decimal, let's say 0.5, it will also be a false. Let's say we have a string. I love apples. Apples are my favorite fruit. And you want to count the number of times the word apple appears inside the sentence. So the method for this is called count, and it returns an integer. So n is equal to s.count, and we want to know how many times we have the word apple. So we print out s as well as n. So here is our string s, and we know that the word apple appears 2 times inside the sentence. Another useful method is find. So instead of counting how many times a string appears inside a sentence, you can find where that specific word occurs inside the string. So we want to know in this string, at which index does the word apple appear? Now, again, remember, the first index is always 0. In this case, it's going to be index 1. The L is index 2. So up until here, we see our first occurrence of apple. So apple will appear at index 7. And there you go, we have 7. Now note that it only counts the first occurrence, but not the second one. How about finding the word banana? So obviously, it doesn't exist inside the sentence. So what will this return exactly? It will return -1. So -1 indicates that the word doesn't exist inside the sentence. Let's say that we want to replace the word apple with the word banana. So we want to change our string s. So s equals s.replace. We want to change apple to banana. And there you go. Now you have I love bananas, and bananas are my favorite fruit. I want to show you just 2 more methods. The first one is stripped. So let's say somebody enters their name and they type in Susan. But the problem is they also put a few spaces in the beginning and at the end. So in order to get rid of these spaces, you use the method strip, and it will get rid of that for you. Here you can see Susan without the space, and if we don't have this, so if we comment this out, you will see that it has a space. I also use the method split quite often. So we have a string s of apple, comma, banana, and comma, coconut. And you want to split this into a list. And you want to split it based on a comma. So let's see what this does. When we print it out, our s will stay the same, but now we get a list called apple, banana, and coconut. And speaking of lists, that is exactly what we're going to go over in the next video, as well as sets and tuples.